Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, and the Let's Talk to Cutler. Let's spend these 1,800 seconds together. And I don't know that I'm going to spend 1,800 seconds together this evening, so I just wanted to just jump on and just say thank you all, particularly to those of you who have been with me for all of these years and who've been encouraging and supporting and all of that kind of stuff. So thank you all so very much. Listen, it's just it is a couple days before the new year, you all, and I just have a few closeout notes. Again, I'm not going to be here all night for all 1,800 seconds, but just in case you're stopping by and you're wondering, what is this broadcast about? Who is this guy and what's going on? What is he here talking about? I've been up here now since 2025. I was on another platform and now I'm on this platform. And my conversation has been consistent. I've just been trying to offer things that are inspirational, things that are motivational, and things that sometimes challenge us to make sure we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations, because life does what life does. Life happens, and the happenings of life are not always wonderful and pleasant and kind and virtuous and all of those things. But how you respond, I've said this for 5 years, how you respond is what matters. How you respond is what matters. So I just want to say again, thank you all. I want to inspire you. I want to motivate you. I want to encourage you. I want to challenge you. Be your best self no matter what happens, you all. No matter what happens in life, be your best self. And I think those are going to be my closeout comments this evening about how do we make sure we close the year out properly? How can I always walk away from this space, Cutler, making sure that I am going to be my best self, even in the worst of situations? I'll talk about that in a moment. I won't get a chance to shout out the LTTC VIPs because I want to get right to the message. Now, if you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, please go ahead and do so. It's December 30th. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe by the end of this year, you can subscribe going into the next year. Just subscribe. And after you do that, make sure you click on the notification bell and button on your particular device because it lets you know whenever I have gone live or added new content. You all, I want to just pause for a moment and pay tribute and respect and homage to one of the greatest musicians, masterful maestros who have ever walked the face of the earth. He passed today, and that is the incomparable, iconic, legendary Richard Smallwood. In case you're saying, "Cutler, I've never heard of him." Oh, you may not have heard of his name, but you've heard his music. In The Preacher's Wife, Whitney Houston sang, "I love the Lord." He wrote that. "Jesus, you're the center of my joy." He wrote that. Richard Smallwood was simply legendary, masterful, iconic, and humble. And so the world is darker without lights like him. What a tremendous loss to not only his family, but not even gospel music, but the world at large. So I just wanted to pay that homage to him. Many of you all know that a significant portion of my life was spent in the Washington, D.C. area. And I had heard of his music long before going to the Washington, D.C. area. But there, of course, I did my undergraduate studies at Howard University, and he was a Howard alumni, was one of the charting founders of the Howard Gospel Choir. And just an amazing person. I think it speaks volumes when you can be world renowned and you can receive awards from presidential awards and presidential citations and still be cherished among your home people. What an incredible story that says about you. And that was just simply Richard Smallwood. So there, I just wanted to pay that homage to him. So if you don't have his music, go out and get his music. If you haven't read his autobiography, which there's a foreword by another Howard University alum in the person of Felicia Rashad. who was one of his contemporaries during their younger days at Howard University. Um, so that's that. It was heartbreaking to get that news today, but here we go. It's about how you respond, and that's what matters. So I want to talk about how do you close out the year? And I want to be realistic because I know in January we set goals and we had hopes and dreams and aspirations. And now some of us are at the end of 2025 where we're saying, Cutler, everything that I wanted to necessarily come true, everything that I'd hoped for did not necessarily manifest. And so how do I close out the year? How do I face another year? How do I face the end of this year against that backdrop? I want you to be hopeful. I want you to be thankful, and I want you to be realistic. Let me say that again. As this year closes out, even if everything that you wanted to happen didn't happen, even if all of your hopes and dreams and goals did not manifest, I want you to be hopeful. I want you to be thankful, and I want you to be realistic. Hopeful means that you still have an expectation that what you planned for, what you wanted, what you're imagining is going to happen. That's what hopeful is. Hopeful is about having an earnest expectation that it's going to happen. And then I want you to be realistic. Realistic from the perspective that sometimes we set goals, sometimes we set plans, but our plans are subject to yet a larger plan. Cutler, don't go there too early. But our plans are subject to yet another plan, and we have to sometimes realize that. So I want you to be hopeful. I want you to be realistic, and then I want you to be thankful. I want you to be thankful that what happened happened. What didn't happen didn't happen. But guess what? I heard somebody say last weekend or this past Sunday that you survived 100% of every single day. If there was a second or a fraction of a day that you did not survive over the past year, you wouldn't be here. But you survived 100% of every single day of this past year. So what didn't happen didn't happen. What did happen, it did happen. But guess what? In spite and light of all of that, you survived. Every single day that you faced, you survived. And I know that for some of us, that's a heavier lift than for some people, because there's some people who survived chemo and radiation and dialysis and aches and pains and sickness and death of loved ones. There are people who survived, and you are among those. Whatever you went through this year, you survived 100% of every day. You survived 100% of every day. So as the year is coming to a close and as it's coming to an end, I want you to think about this. How do you just accept that life unfolds as it is intended? It unfolds as planned. It unfolds as orchestrated. And so as you are accepting that, it is a matter of making sure that you are at ease, that, okay, everything I wanted to happen didn't necessarily happen, but I'm okay with it. Why is that important? It is important because it helps you to reduce what I call unnecessary suffering. It helps. And one of the things I made a note, we may not like everything that happened, and there were some things that happened in this past year that I didn't necessarily like, but you accept those things not because you like them, but so that you can begin handling those things, and so you can deal with it. So I accept it so I can deal with it. I can't deal with it if I don't accept it. I can't handle it if I don't accept it. There were some things that crushed me and took the wind out of me. But the only way I could deal with those things was to accept them. Not because I liked them, but because I had to be able to handle them. You can't handle what you can't accept. And when you learn to accept it, you reduce the suffering that you would otherwise experience. So accepting it, that life unfolds, it helps to reduce the suffering, put you in a place where you can learn how to handle it. You can deal with it. And I am the first not to tell people just to get over it, because I think that is one of the most rude and inconsiderate things you can tell people who are dealing with struggles and dealing with trials and dealing with tribulations and in any kind of moments that bring anxiety, just to tell them to get over it. That is so insensitive to me. So I wouldn't say that, but I will say learn how to accept the fact that life unfolds as it was intended. And when you get to that point, it helps you to use your mental energy so that you can take action, and so that you can move forward, so that you can persevere, and so that you can get through. So the quicker you are able to accept that life unfolds as it was intended, it allows you to use the mental energy that you have stored so you can take action. So that you can now show up and be present, and so that you can fight when you need to fight, and so that you can stand strong when you need to stand strong. So it helps you to channel how and when and where and why to use that mental energy. I'm just trying to help you out as you're getting to the end of the year. Don't be discouraged, don't be depressed, don't be discontent, don't be dismayed. But what did I say earlier? Be thankful, be hopeful, and be realistic. And as you're thankful, hopeful, and realistic, you're helping yourself to reduce unnecessary stress and suffering. You're helping yourself to make sure that you can now channel your mental energy where it needs to grow, where it needs to go. You're helping yourself make sure that you can now promote growth. I'm ready to grow, because you can only grow when you're not stuck, and when you're not stunted, and when you're not stagnant. And as you accept that life happens as it is intended, you are not in a stuck place, you're not in a stagnant place, but you're in a place where you can now begin to grow, even in the midst of adversity. You can't grow in adversity when you're stuck. You can't grow in the midst of adversity when you're stunted and when you're stagnant. But it is only after accepting that there are things that are out of my control, things that are beyond me, things that I just cannot change. I'm at the end of the year. I'm at December the 30th. Some things I can't change. They didn't happen. I can't change them in 2 days. I can't. That doesn't mean they're not changeable. But I wanted to just to just have this conversation, to put this out there, because I know sometimes we'll beat up on ourselves. We'll allow the world to beat us up. We'll allow other people to beat us up because what you planned didn't happen. What you dreamed didn't happen. What you hoped for didn't happen. What aspiration you had, it didn't happen. So guess what? Be quiet. Keep your mouth shut and keep your mouth off of me. Because I'm learning in my maturity, in my maturation, I'm learning, and I've learned to just accept that everything does not happen the way I planned, but things happen as they were intended. They unfold just as they were intended to unfold. Because what does that do? That helps to make me a more adaptable person. I can handle the change. It makes me resilient. It makes me flexible. Because I cannot handle things if I'm stuck not being able to accept what's happening. But the more I can accept that there's some things that are just beyond my control, guess what? It makes you flexible. It makes you adaptable. I can handle the change. I can pivot when I need to pivot. I can change when I need to change. I can turn when I need to turn. I can bob and weave when I need to do all of that. It makes you resilient. It makes you adaptable. All right. So just want to put that out there. Accept that life unfolds. And here's something else. When you can accept that life unfolds as it intends to unfold, as it is intended, you'll get to the place where you are flexible and resilient and adaptable enough to handle what's next. All right, let me pivot and handle what's next. Let me turn and handle what's next. Let me bob and weave and handle what's next. But you can't handle what's next if you can never handle what's next if you can't handle what's now. And what's now is not always a pretty scene. It's not always a lovely scene, but it's the real scene. It shows you the cards that you've been dealt, so you know how to play the hand that you've been dealt. And again, you can't handle what's next. You'll never be able to handle what's next if you can't handle what's now. And if you can handle what's now, then there's a whole litany of next for you. There's a whole series of new for you. So I just want to put that out there. Just want to put that out there. Don't worry if it all didn't come true, if it all didn't come to pass, if it all didn't manifest, if it all didn't happen. Don't worry about that. Don't make yourself a prisoner of those things, and don't allow other people to make you a prisoner of them. Not at all. Southern Color, if I just accept that fact, then what do I do moving forward? Some things didn't happen, so what? Some things didn't manifest, so what? Some things didn't come into fruition, so what? Here's what you do. You reflect. You honestly reflect without guilt, without shame, without remorse, without beating yourself up. Just reflect on what happened. Objectively look at the year, look at what happened, try to understand. Some goals were met, not all goals were met. So not everything was good, but not everything was bad. And so you just take a look, you just reflect on the year. You honestly, openly, objectively reflect without beating yourself up, without condemning yourself, without feeling embarrassed or ashamed or all of that. You just reflect. And you say to yourself, nope, no guilt, because what I am going to do as I'm reflecting, I'm going to celebrate all of the things that are celebration worthy. And the things that didn't happen, if I can find the root cause, then I find the root cause. If I can't, then I just keep on going. Celebrate the good things that happen, and for all the things that didn't happen, just keep right on going. Take a look, see if you can find the root cause. Yes, we keep on going, but keep on going. But here's the goal: make sure that you just reflect without guilt. And as you're reflecting without guilt, learn to evaluate and analyze and audit the things that are happening in your life. Check out the math and see what didn't add up. Where was I off? Where did I miss the goal? Where was the flaw? Is there a lesson for me to learn? Let me analyze and see what happened. And if I can do something about it, I will. If I can't, I'm not going to worry about it. So instead of trying to take the whole year, go month by month, break it down and say, let me see what happened here. Let me see if there's something that I could have done. How far off was I from my goal? And you think about those things. Yeah, so you're going to reflect, you're going to do an adjustment, an evaluation, and then here's what you're going to do. You're going to recommit. Or you're just going to relinquish or retire some of those things. You're going to recommit to them, or you're just going to retire and relinquish and release some of those things. Because as you are thankful and hopeful and realistic, maybe the reality is this. Maybe the reality is that it's time to release some of those goals, to relinquish some of those things. And if it is not time to relinquish or release, maybe it's time to just renew, retweak, reevaluate, and recommit. Because as long as there is breath in your body and blood flowing through your veins, you can recommit. You can renew. You can make another vow to yourself that, you know what, I'm going to try again. I'm going to keep on going. I'm not going to create this mental baggage and find myself shackled to those things. I'm not going to be a prisoner of what didn't happen. I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to release what needs to be released, relinquish what needs to be relinquished, Retire what needs to be retired. But there's some things that I'm not going to retire. There's some things that I'm going to recommit to. And some of you have heard me on another platform, and even on this platform, one of the things that I recommitted to a couple months ago was better health, the new health. There are some things that, no, they didn't happen. I didn't necessarily meet all of the goals, but guess what? That doesn't mean I'm throwing them away. It doesn't mean I'm throwing in the towel. There's some things that are worth holding on to going into the new year. I know there were some goals that did not come into tuition, that did not come into fruition. But guess what? That doesn't mean I'm going to throw them away. I'm going to recommit. I'm going to renew those as commitments. I'm going to renew them as priorities. I'm going to reprioritize those things in my life. Don't let people beat you up about what didn't happen, and don't you beat yourself up about what didn't happen. I said I'm going to say the whole time, but y'all, I need to make sure I get this point out and get this point across to us. The new year is coming. The new year is coming. And just because we go over that threshold from 11:59 to 12 and then to 12:01, it does not mean that the door completely closed on what didn't happen in 2025. Renew, recommit, and keep going. Renew, recommit, and keep going. I want to just offer this to us all. Thank you all so much for energizing me to keep going throughout the year, to recommit, to renew, to recollect my thoughts, to recollect my goals. We all have had some major setbacks through the year. I think for me, this was a year just of so many emotional setbacks, and emotional setbacks are real. They come with a powerful punch that will take the wind out of you. So I'm saying this out of complete transparency, that everything did not happen. Everything may not have happened that you wanted. But understand that life unfolds as it is intended. And when you're able to accept, not because you like it, but because you want to posture and position yourself so that you can now handle it, so that you can now deal with it. I cannot handle it and deal with it until I accept it. This is my reality. This is real. This is where I am. All right. So this is what we have to deal with. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. The new year's coming. And again, I want to wish you all a happy 2026, a happy new year. Somebody said, well, that's probably a bit early for you to do. That's probably a bit presumptuous. I know. So what? I don't do a broadcast every day. So I'm doing this broadcast now to say thank you for being a part of my community, a part of my village. I thank you so very much. And so guess what? I'm going to say Happy New Year to you and your family and friends and all the people who make the moments matter in your life. Let's keep doing what we do, you all. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's keep our heads up. Let's keep our hopes up. Stay safe. Stay sane. And from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Thank you all again for all the joy that you bring to my life. And happy 2026. I'll see you in the new year. Take care.